Alright, wow. So, Travis Scott just released his fourth studio album, Utopia, and I have so many things to say about it. Okay, so for a little background, it's been 5 years. Can you believe it? 5 since Travis released Astroworld, which, if y'all remember, was one of the biggest albums of like 2018. So, he has all this madman hype, Travis, some of it being from the catastrophic and tragic incident at the Astroworld concert. So, I was ready for this, but not prepared for what I was hearing. Because you see, when it comes to Travis's projects, it always has like fantastic production, but even that lends toward the forward-leaning end of trap. His music is moody, atmospheric, and contains very noticeable southern style to it. In Utopia, this one right here, the sounds he forged on Rodeo and even Astroworld are updated, and they sound so much different than his usual style. For one, this lineup is stacked, and I mean mega stacked, with names like Beyonce, James Blake, Drake, Sampha, SZA, KayCyy, Future, because of course he would be on this, Young Thug, Kid Cudi, Bon Iver, Teezo Touchdown, Young Lean, Swae, The Weeknd, and a rare appearance from our boy Playboi Carti. Now off topic, but that new Carti album is going to get the same amount of hype as this one. I mean, it's been 3 years since Whole Lotta Red, and the Sugar Rap stuff is just it's the hot shit right now. People want more of it. Back to Utopia, the production side is loaded as well. You got Kanye West on songs like God's Country and Telekinesis, both of which sound great, by the way. You got The Alchemist, James Blake himself, 30 Rock, Noel Goldstein, and so much more I don't have the time to get into. So with all this talk, we should get a pretty great album to go with it, right? For the most part, that is the case. There are no outright terrible songs in Utopia. The only tracks I didn't care for was My Eyes. Travis's voice sounds goofy on this. And Sampha's sounds so drenched in auto-tune I can barely make out what he's saying. Fane was pretty hype on first listen, but compared to something like Off the Grid, Carti sounds much less enthusiastic. And on top of that, the man barely stays. He's on this for like 20 seconds. Like, at least give us a little bit more time with him. But there's so many more positives here. HYAENA is a fantastic opener. I really love the bounce around vocals on this track. Thank God is a track that just gets better with every listen. The Tubular Bells are a chef's kiss. And lyrically, this is one of Travis's better tracks, too. The Tom Brady shout-out was pretty hilarious, especially when he does it again on MELTDOWN. Speaking of MELTDOWN, it's another banger. A lot of people are saying this is like Sicko Mode 2.0. I don't think it's nearly as good, but this is another piece of good production with the backing strings and the hi-hats. Drake puts on this really like a low and menacing voice that ends once the guitar kicks in, and then Travis comes in to drop some bars that are almost certainly shots fired at Timothy Chalamet and Kylie Jenner. Of course, it has a beat switch that works out quite well as well. And in general, the beats on this album are quite refreshing. Hearing the cowbells on SKITZO and Modern Jam is just pure bliss. I love cowbells. DELRESTO is another great cut. It seems like with Beyonce on this, it seems like she's running with the same sound that she had on Renaissance, and this time around it actually works quite well. Some last thoughts on the tracks is that Circus Maximus has been compared constantly to like Ye's Black Skinhead on Yeezus, but I don't think it sounds that much similar. Yeah, you got the running guitar and drum loop, but it sounds like its own thing more than anything. And Lost Forever uses two artists that I found interesting because they both have higher than average voices in their field. Like Westside Gunn has this kind of like really high pitched voice for rap, and James Blake is like this really high pitch for like his like electronic R&B that he does. And of course, before I go, I have to mention some of the funniest bars on here. Like the one about him saying he would have voted for Ye over Biden was hilarious. Him mispronouncing misogyny with monogamy was another funny one, as well as the Chainway going from heavy metal line. Okay, so this may be my hottest take, but I think this may be his best album, even surpassing Astroworld, Birds, and Rodeo. There are some duds, but the highlights are so consistent, and he manages to slightly push the boundaries of that psychedelic trap that he brought into the mainstream. This is one of the better albums of the year, in my opinion, so I'm feeling a high 7 to a low 8 on it. Definitely a must listen for now and the future. Thematically, the idea of having your own space seems great until it gets shattered by potentially life-changing news.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, let's hope Travis can realize that he's not invincible, because even though he's trying to sell you that idea on Utopia that he's invincible, consequences of actions. Just saying.